An 18-year-old was killed by police in Cincinnati. The next day, his father killed a deputy with his car. Now the state calls it murder. But when the police killed his son, they called it procedure. The father's name is Rodney Hinton. He has no criminal record, no history of violence, just a dead child in a system that won't bury its own. When the law protects itself and only itself, what do you expect a grieving father to do?
I just want my brother to see me.
He lost his son, and then he lost control. What would you do if you watched body cam footage of your own child's final moments? 18-year-old Ryan Hinton was believed to be driving a stolen car and fleeing from officers with 3 other teens in the vehicle. Police also claimed he was armed. According to official reports, Ryan ran between 2 garbage bins and allegedly pointed a weapon at an officer. That officer fired 5 rounds, hitting Ryan in the chest and arm. He collapsed and never got back up.
They're trying to intimidate Rodney Hinton because they know that as soon as it becomes an eye for an eye, they lose. They are so vastly outnumbered, it's not even funny. And that man did not let them intimidate him one damn bit. And as a father, I respect him so damn.
Pinch me and fart on my leg, but what you're not going to do is tell me that this wasn't an organized gang that was allowed to do a demonstration in a U.S. courtroom. And you can tell me that the sky is purple or green, but what you're not going to tell me is that this wasn't a move of white supremacy at its best. Then the amount of hate that was ushered in by so-called government officials is a mark of shame on our country. Embarrassing. And I know many are going to say, they were there to support, they were there to support. You can support without giving somebody a death stare. And I'm pretty sure in the back of their mind, they feel like they're doing something righteously. But what they don't realize is those death stares only proves what people of color have been feeling forever coming from you all. And for that reason, we stand with this father. Until you guys really truly get it, stuff like this is going to continue to happen, but we're going to stand with ours.
This is the moment a father was charged with the murder of a police officer, just 1 day after his teenage son was shot and killed by police. 38-year-old Rodney Hinton Jr. is now facing an aggravated murder charge after allegedly hitting and killing Hamilton County Sheriff's Deputy Larry Henderson with his car. This happened just 24 hours after Hinton's son, 18-year-old Ryan Hinton, was fatally shot by Cincinnati police. According to authorities, Ryan had fled from a reportedly stolen vehicle and was being chased when officers claimed he pointed a firearm at them. Police then opened fire, and Ryan later died from his injuries. After watching the police body cam footage of his son's final moments, Hinton reportedly left the room in tears. Hours later, prosecutors say he intentionally drove into the deputy, who was working a traffic detail for a local graduation. In court, dozens of deputies attended to show solidarity for the victim, whilst prosecutors called Hinton's actions deliberate and premeditated. Hinton is being held without bond and could face life in prison if convicted.
Hello, what's up, my good and beautiful people? I hope you're doing good from wherever you're watching this video from. Allow me to welcome you back to the channel and to welcome you to this channel as well if it's your first time coming across this channel. So you'll have heard about this story with concerning Rodney Hinton. So just to recap on this a bit, because I know most of us have already heard about this story. So this gentleman, or this black American man, had his son, unalived by a police bullet. And the following day, he was shown a video captured by the police body cam of what had happened, because allegedly the teenage son, was caught in a stolen car, and he had a pew and he pointed at the police, and then they did what they did. But I think he wasn't exactly content with the story. So what he did, out of the grief and the pain, he left the place, and what he did next was regrettable. He ran over a police officer, and now he's facing charges of aggravated murder. So Many people have come out to talk about this issue in different ways. And this issue is actually complex. The more you look at it, the more it becomes complex. And so, as I have said, I've been observing how people have been reacting to the whole story. And of course, people have different opinions on the same. So, let's just sample a few of these takes people had on this whole story, and then maybe we could learn something from it.
I just want my brother to see me.
He lost his son, and then he lost control. What would you do if you watched body cam footage of your own child's final moments? 18-year-old Ryan Hinton was believed to be driving a stolen car and fleeing from officers with 3 other teens in the vehicle. Police also claimed he was armed. According to official reports, Ryan ran between 2 garbage bins and allegedly pointed a weapon at an officer. That officer fired 5 rounds, hitting Ryan in the chest and arm. He collapsed and never got back up. Police stated the teen had aimed at them first, but the body cam told a different story. Ryan never fired. In fact, there was no indication he even made verbal threats. Eyewitnesses said they didn't see a weapon at all. The next day, his father, Rodney Hinton Jr., was invited to the station to view the footage. He watched in silence, tears rolling down his face, before walking out early. No one could have predicted what would happen next. Minutes later, Rodney got into his car and drove off from the police station. Across the road, Deputy Larry Henderson was directing traffic for a local graduation ceremony. Rodney didn't slow down. Instead, he crossed the center line, accelerating toward the deputy. Witnesses say Henderson was thrown several feet into the air from the impact. There was no sign Rodney tried to brake or swerve. He was arrested on the spot and is now facing serious charges for what prosecutors call a planned act of retaliation. But his attorney argued otherwise. He's not a cop killer. He's a grieving father who just watched his son die. His mind snapped. Rodney had no criminal history, no record of violence. Until that moment, he broke. In court, law enforcement filled the room in tribute to their fallen colleague. Deputy Henderson had just retired after 33 years of service and was still volunteering in the sheriff's department. Now, Rodney could be sentenced to life behind bars or even face capital punishment.
Rodney Hinton did not care what police officer he took out. He didn't care. Y'all can say it was the right cop, it was the wrong cop. He fit the description, ladies and gentlemen. That's the way he saw it. His son was took from him the day before after an altercation with the police department in Cincinnati. And he didn't care. All that man knew was that he lost his son. Everything that he had been through the past 18 years with that poor boy, regardless of the situation where he stole a car, he had a pew-pew, whatever it may be. Y'all are looking at it all wrong. Y'all try to blame the parents for raising a bad child. Is your child perfect? Nope. I guarantee you, you might think they're perfect, but they're playing you like a fiddle. Them kids, they're going out and they're experiencing their own thing out in the world. I can guarantee you that. They're doing their own thing. They don't care. And he lost his son. In pure anger, he took it and done something terrible. He will live down the consequences of that. He will do his time. But it does not matter. He thought he was right. Prayers go out to that family and all of the prayers to the family of all the officers involved.
Police ended his son's life, so he did what no one else would, and now he's being called the villain? Ryan Hinton, only 18, got caught in a car theft, if that part's true. But when police chased him down, they claimed he pointed a weapon at them, and that's why they fired. But here's the thing, there's no proof the weapon ever went off. And the body cam footage, it doesn't show what they're saying. From what people could see, it looked like Ryan was running away, not pointing a weapon, but they still took Ryan's life. The next morning, his father, Rodney, sat down at the police station to watch that footage, and I don't think anything could really prepare a parent for that. He couldn't even finish it. He just broke down in that room, stood up, and left, and for a few hours, no one knows where he went. But then at around 1 p.m., Rodney's car is spotted in the middle of the road, and he's just sitting there while Sheriff Larry Henderson is nearby directing traffic. And that's when Rodney just accelerates. No swerve, no brake, just straight into Sheriff Henderson. He did not survive the crash, but Rodney did. He was arrested immediately, and now they're charging him with aggravated murder, even going as far as seeking the death penalty in Ohio, which hasn't happened since 2018. It's all just devastating. A father lost his son, the community lost a deputy, 2 families are completely torn apart, and we're just left with a city that has all this grief and so many questions. I don't really have a good way to end this one. I don't have a side to take. I just keep wondering, did Ronnie cross the line, or was his grief valid as a father who just got his son taken from him by police? Let me know what you guys think, because honestly, I'm still sitting with this one. I really hope he doesn't get the death penalty, because honestly, I feel like the justice system only acts so harshly when it's one of their own. Please be safe out there, seriously.
This right here is exactly why we need to defund the police.
A driver pulled over for speeding pointed a rifle at a highway patrol officer yesterday. CHP says it happened just north of Reading on I-5. An officer stopped a vehicle on the Mountain Gate off-ramp. The driver, they say, got out of the car, pointed the AR-style assault rifle toward the officer. Officials say the suspect re-entered his vehicle and then they started pursuit. Vehicle continued southbound, driving at varying speeds before exiting the freeway at Oasis, continuing for about 2 miles west before stopping near Vigil Court. The suspect, taken into custody, booked into Shasta County Jail.
What the f***? So you mean to tell me, like I've been telling you guys before, that a white man can pull an AR on an officer and still keep his life? Right? That officer backed all the way up, allowed that man to get in his car, did not fire any shots, and they drove for about 2 to 3 minutes before apprehending the suspect without any harm to him. However, a black kid running away, he can't even run away from this situation. A white man can pull an AR-15 in broad daylight and still keep his life. And a black kid running away with no weapon cannot keep his life. This is why we need to defund the police.
To all of you that are saying that Rodney Hinton is some kind of national...
Shh, white lady. This is about us, not you. This is why you can't understand what's going on, because you haven't been persecuted for the last 400 years. Your kids don't have to have guns pointed at them in any capacity ever. For anybody, for you to say how a young kid can think in the act of being racially profiled. You see, get your facts straight, because the car wasn't stolen. The fucking car dealership called the police because it was failed payment. He never stole the car. He had money. This is why we have to break away from you white people, because y'all always got y'all business and y'all nose into the God's business, like y'all can't mind y'all own shit, and it's ridiculous. This man is a fucking hero because he did something to go against the status quo that gun us down every motherfucking day. Because it's not just this kid getting unalived, mind you, from running from the police. Mind you, if you've seen my video earlier today, I showed a white man brandishing an AR-15, pointing it right at the cop, not just showing it around in traffic, pointing right at the cop for the cop to back up. And then they let this white man get back in his vehicle and drive off for 2 or 3 minutes before the cops then come back around and guess what? Arrest this man, a grown man, right? With no harm done to him. Yet, you're talking about a kid brandishing a weapon when there are literally white people pointing their weapon at the cops and are still alive. Man, please sit the fuck down at least 3 times and stop talking about black people culture, because you have no clue what the fuck you talking about. You have no clue on how our people feel, literally trying to live amongst you people, because y'all don't even know that you guys are the demons. Because all those white cops, please tell me any one of them where their origin comes from. I bet you they do not fucking know, because they come from a demonic origin. White folks do not have origin anywhere. And so when black folks call this man a hero, he literally sacrificed his life so that way people can have awareness that we have people that are not our people, call themselves Americans, in America, living in our land, killing our children, but yet you want to come on this app to talk about shit that you have no fucking clue about. And this is why we have to separate from you guys, because you guys are not equal. And instead of looking at this black man and wondering why everybody's got his back, you're doing the white thing to try to put you guys back in a good light to justify a white cop killing a kid when they have procedures in play that could have saved that kid's life and brought him in, and we could have did justice the right way. But you see, the whiteness in these police departments, they don't want to do things the right way, even though they try to tell us to do things the right way. Because a fucking grown-ass man killed a fucking kid, and I don't hear or see the TikTok of white community telling that this man was wrong. It's you motherfuckers that are trying to find justification as to why a grown-ass man killed a little-ass boy. But we got grown-ass men pointing guns at other grown-ass men, but you don't see them quick to drop them simply because they're white. So, ma'am, please stay out of black folks' business. Sit the fuck down and watch the guys take over. If you look on the internet, you will not find the cop who killed Hinton's son. What does he look like? And why is the internet not showing his name or face? They're only showing Hinton as the criminal. I'm doing some digging, and it is saying, right, that the city police fatally shot an armed 18-year-old as he ran from them. Now, mind you, I was showing you plenty of videos of white people brandishing ARs and pointing them at the police and not running. And they kept their life. But I wanted to show you something interesting that's going on. When we continue to read, the Cincinnati Police Department said he appeared to point a gun at the officer while fleeing. But the officer's body camera footage does not clearly capture that moment. So, how could you have seen a weapon while he's fleeing, yet your body camera does not show footage of the kid pointing a gun at the officer? Now, if you were in danger, right? If your body camera would have been able to see that gun, which means that you have been close enough to be in danger. So if your body camera could not pick up said firearm, which means then the kid was way much further away from you than what you're saying, which means that the kid was actually really fleeing for his life. And there's a potential that he really didn't have a gun to begin with, and that this statement of him pointing a gun would have been on the camera. Therefore, this didn't happen. Therefore, his son was shot for no reason. And when we put two and two together to realize that it was the car dealership who called the cops to report the car stolen when the car wasn't stolen, it was behind on a payment. And this is showing that then, if the body camera did not show the gun, the police department are covering their ass. And this is why we don't see the name or the face of the cop who shot that kid, because he's fucking guilty. Why hasn't he come up? Why hasn't he spoke out? Why hasn't he had a public apology about killing a black man? You're not going to see that cop because they are hiding it behind the whole city police. So that way the whole department can be like, okay, we'll take this L, versus publicly singling out the person who took his life. The police department think they're slick. If it doesn't fit, it must have quit. And I think Rodney can get off simply because this kid was not armed. Why do you think they have body cam footage? And if the city police, which means that there was more than one officer, then there should be more than one body cam that should see a gun, because then they would have all been close enough to act like they were all in danger to fatally shoot a kid. Secondly, it says armed, right? What type of gun did his son have? No one is showing the specifics of which type of gun that his son was brandishing for him to be killed. I'm talking about a specifics. Was it a Glock 9, a 9mm? Was it a G2C? Was it what type of gun did this kid have? And if it's just said to have been, and he was just armed, he just happened to have some type of gun on him, then the police department is lying, and they need to bring another police department to investigate the Cincinnati police, because they are lying. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. That body cam footage doesn't show a gun, which means then that this kid was running from his life, which means that the body cam footage showed that that son was calling for his dad, which means that his son was ultimately killed from no reason. And then that means that Hinton should receive something from the Cincinnati police, because this is bullshit.
You will never free Rodney Hinton. Okay, these are the comments that I don't appreciate. Rodney committed murder, period. There's no other way to look at that. Now, whether he thought it was right or wrong is a question to be asked on a later date. But as of right now, what he done was wrong, 100%. There's no way to misinform that. Now, why he done it? They took his son. Okay? In that moment, he didn't know what the difference was between right and wrong, because he was so infuriated that the police had unalived his son. But when you say free him, that's not going to happen, because he went into that car, he drove that car, he done what he done, and he knew as soon as he got done, he was going to jail for the rest of his life. He won't be able to sit in the recliner and watch TV like I'm doing at this very moment. No more. He made amends with that. He is okay with that. This man is not getting off for the crimes that he committed. But I do feel for his son.
So let's talk about the Rodney Hinton situation, since don't nobody want to address the elephant that's in the room. One thing about me, I do not care if you black or white. I only care about accountability and you doing what's right. If you wrong as a man, face the consequences. Man up. I just watched the body footage of the whole situation. As a black man, as a father, as a white man, as a white father, y'all gotta hold y'all kids accountable. 90% of these kids is easy influence and doing things that they see on social media that they think is cool. And a lot of y'all parents know y'all kids is not living right, but y'all go with the fact that, oh, my son look cool, oh, my son look good, oh, my son doing this. Then soon something happened to him, oh, he was a good kid, oh, he was this. Then when the evidence shows that your son was doing other things, y'all still don't hold yourself accountable for it. Y'all still deny it. This boy was in a stolen car. If I was a police officer and I pulled somebody over in a stolen car, I'm 100% sure that that person got the blick on him, the GUN on him. I'm pretty sure, because how else you gonna get a stolen car? And another thing, now let me address these parents. Stop letting y'all kids, this go for black, white, Mexican, it don't even matter. Stop letting y'all kids leave the house with these ski masks on, these hoodies on their head when it's 90 degrees outside, and zipped up like a robber. Stop letting y'all kids leave the house like that. Because me, as a civilian, when I go to these gas stations and malls and all that, y'all kids do look suspicious to me. Now, did Rodney Hinton's son deserve to die? No. It was a better way they could have prevented it from happening. But when you young and stealing cars and got the gun on you in the car and you jump out running, a lot of times, a lot of people, when they jump out running in that situation, they turn around and they start pew-pewing at the police. Let's just be real. Because for some reason, everything is about an image nowadays. Just look at the image. If his son would never got shot, right? Just look at the image. If he would survive, went to jail, got out, he would have been a rapper and he would have spoke on all that. He would have been promoting all the stuff that he went through that day and glorifying it like, yeah, I'm this, I do this, yeah, I'm this type of person, yeah. Like, let's just be real. My opinion, I think that both parties should have been still alive to this day, because accountability would have fixed everything. The boy could have easily just took his charges, called his dad, look, dad, I messed up, I in a stolen car, blah, blah, got a blinking on me, I got caught, you know what I'm saying, blah, 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 blah. Accountability. It would have never got that far. And I get that the police officer doing their job, but we do have crooked police officers out here. Everybody's not crooked, but at the same time, everybody needs accountability.
You can take this however you will. As a parent, I can't even begin to imagine the pain that Rodney Hinton feels. But as a mother, I absolutely understand it. And when the police shot his son Ryan 5 times, they didn't just take a life. They took his entire world. And when you lose your whole world, what exactly do you have left to lose? Nothing. Yes, the speculation that his son may have had a gun, but the body camera footage that I watched never showed him pointing that gun at anyone. Yes, I saw him running away, but if anything, he was shot from behind 5 times. Having a gun, running from the police, even being in a stolen car, none of that justified being shot at like that. There are other ways to apprehend someone. I've seen them do it without shooting the person who also has a gun. There are other ways to de-escalate the situation. I've seen them do it with someone who has a gun. But time and time again, when it comes to Black youth, the police choose deadly force. And as Rodney stood there in that courtroom for his bail hearing, surrounded by the officers trying to intimidate him in the handcuffs with the weight of his grief on his shoulder, the rage and the silence, it spoke volumes. Because when your child is gunned down by the police, justice then becomes personal. And for Black families, it's a story that repeats itself over and over and over and over again. No one knows what situation their child might end up in. Young people make mistakes. That's a part of growing up. But no mistake should ever be met with 5 bullets. Every parent wants their child to come home at the end of the day. That is not too much to ask. Rodney's son, Ryan, did not come home at the end of the day. And there's a quote that I'm sure many people know, which is the most dangerous person is one who has nothing left to lose. And it's basically saying that when someone has lost everything, their family, their freedom, hope, a sense of purpose, they no longer fear any consequences at all, making them extremely unpredictable and often fearless in the face of authority or danger. And so in my heart, I truly believe that that's where Rodney's pain sits, is that he had nothing left to lose, and that at this point, he was not fearful of anything or anyone or any consequence because he had already lost everything.
We are living in times where they are trying to get police immunity. So Rodney Hinton, I'm not going to say you're right or wrong. It's really sad that it has to get to this, but we know that by this administration trying to give cops immunity, they even had an executive order maybe like a week ago, less than a week ago, so that when cops do unalive people, they can get top lawyers. While we know that Black men are unalived by cops unproportionately. So we're supposed to wait on the justice system when we know that there will be no justice? I get it. The kid shouldn't have been in a stolen car, but cops are supposed to be trained to de-escalate these kind of situations. And then they always lie and say that they think somebody had a weapon when the body cam footage does not show that this boy had a weapon. It's just the lies to cover their tracks. And then all of them officers in the dang on court, that is intimidation. But baby, I love that he held his head high. Because who y'all scaring? He did what he did and he looked like he'll do it again. As a mother, I'ma just say I feel for him.
Rodney Hinton is collectively how most people are feeling right now. You can get it. You can get it. You can get it. Try me. I don't want it to be that way, but if you take it to that point, I don't know who y'all think we are at this point. But I know I'm not kumbayaing, I'm not holding hands, and I'm not forgiving. Take my baby, shooting him in the back while he's running away from you. It's amazing the amount of grace these people who have none expect other humans to have. time and time again. How long? James Baldwin said, how long do y'all need for your progress? How long? How long? But I guess what? We don't care at this point. We don't care if you know what's wrong. We don't care if you know what's right. I don't even care that you find empathy. I don't think some of y'all have it. I don't think we're the same species at this point. And as a result of that,
Okay, so this case really is complex. And if you really look into this case, what you would notice is Rodney Hinton is just a parent who is still grieving, um, the death of his son. And the actions he took are out of grief, anger, and it's just regrettable. But from a perspective of a parent, you'd say this is a man who has lost everything he has ever maybe lived for. Now, from my personal observation or perspective, because we all entitled to opinions in one way or the other. So a crime is a crime, and one crime cannot justify another. However, and I would not love us to become, we would not love to become an eye for an eye society. However, sometimes we say fire begets fire, or fire for fire. This is not really to try and justify a crime on another crime, but to really just observe and say this could have been controlled somehow had the right strings been pulled correctly. In a properly working policing society, and with the whole history in our hands of police brutality in the United States of America, especially towards people of color and especially towards black people, I think it should have already become a basic psychological concept in which if it is a fair police department, then it's basic knowledge that there is a way they should be able to handle such and such a demographic of people because of the history linked to the strained relationships between the police and this community. You cannot continue to, if I were a doctor and I have two different patients, then I will know how to handle each patient separately depending on the conditions and the history that they carry. If I was a teacher, then the entry behavior of my students to my class would determine the kind of attention or the kind of approach I would be treating each student. So history really determines how my student has been like before and how I am going to explain to them a concept. Another student understands way faster, and another might take a little longer to understand the same concept. It is my responsibility to know how to handle this student and the other one in two different ways, such that all of them at the end of the day will have understood this concept. So basic. So basic. Now, that's why I think, from my personal perspective, that is how I would poke holes into this whole system. It's so complex, so much that it even got a certain black cop fired. Again, you realize that along this case, they even denied his family access to him in the courtroom. What is just the justification of that exactly? Now, there are many things that people have said in these videos, and I don't actually want to really just repeat what they're saying, but why did they bar the brother of this guy from just attending, just being there for him? because they wanted to make him as lonely as possible as a way of torture and traumatizing him. Okay, if we were to let that go, what was the business of so many cops in that courtroom? I understand they came in there to show solidarity for their fallen brother in arms, but have all other people also been were they to be let in to show solidarity for that kid who lies whose body is lifeless at the moment? Would it be practical? Because I believe there are many people who would also have wanted to show solidarity with the kid of this guy. They all came in, and you could tell from their body languages how they are staring at the guy that it was a move to intimidate the guy. So I don't know what you think about this story, but I really been observing, and I could poke some holes into this whole case. I would want to hear what you think about this. You might want to share your opinions, your comments, leave me a comment. And actually, the latest on the case as of now is that Rodney has pleaded not guilty. And so we wait to really see what's going to become of the case in the near future. Yeah, please do share what you think about this in the comments. Share and like this video. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, or if you just came across this channel for the first time, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Check out our other videos to know what we really do in this channel. So until next time, I will definitely be happy to see you in my next video. Peace out.